Okay, as we line up for heat number 2, you see the champion Jeremy McGrath with Skip Norfolk. His mechanic surprisingly quiet now.
First turn soft, so you can drive it in hard. You're going to get plenty of traction. You can do what you want in the first turn. If you don't have to drive it in, brake tight, hang come out around, or you can drive it in if someone's on your outside. You can do whatever you want. You're going to get plenty of traction going in there.
I'll get past on the inside if I push someone far enough to the outside.
There you see the strategy as we mic Skip Norfolk. It's Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk, Damon Bradshaw, Phil Lawrence, Larry Ward, Michael Craig, Kyle Lewis, Denny Stevenson, Richard Taylor, Cliff Palmer, just to go down half of the list trying to qualify.
That's kind of interesting. The way they talk, it's like, okay, you're going to get the whole shot, so do you want to go tight or wide? You know, they're not saying, okay, if you get a bad start, here's what you should do. No, it's just, you're going to probably have the start. It's up to you. That's a good strategy. Guess when you won that many times and you've got that kind of a record getting off the gate, that's the way you start to think after a while.
The riders waiting for the 32nd board to go up. Skip more yapping with his rider, Jeremy McGrath, who's already wrapped up his 4th consecutive title, going for win number 14. Let's go down to Marty Reed. Marty?
Well, guys, we've been keeping our eye on Ezra Lusk the last few races. Ed Longacre said, hey, look, we just want you to get some podiums. In the last 6 races, he's had a 2nd, a 3rd, and 3/4. And Ed Longacre told us tonight, I'm turning my boy loose. It's all up to him now. I want to see if he can take this race.
Yeah, they put kind of a verbal muzzle on number 34, Ezra Lusk, saying just finish the race. Stay on 2 wheels. See how you can do. And his improvement has been marked.
No, it's worked. They need to do that to Albertine now. Bring him up that way because he's gone down. He's having the kind of year that Lusk had last year.
Okay, we're almost set for the start of the qualifying heat number 2 from St. Louis in this beautiful facility. Michael Craig, a good start. Number 17 as Jeremy McGrath cuts inside and blocks him out. No, he gets by. 17 is Michael Craig, 13 is Phil Lawrence. There you see
Stevenson and Taylor getting hooked up in the first corner. Already out front, McGrath with a shot at the lead.
Oh, he's got some tight. He gets crunched in there with a sandwich between Phil Lawrence and Michael Craig. Coming up behind is Larry Ward.
We're going to see a lot of physical riding tonight. You see McGrath wasn't able to do the double coming out of that corner. I'm anxious to see how he keeps his cool right here. He's going to have to keep his head because everyone's going to take it to him.
Right now, Phil Lawrence, the top privateer in the top 10. Number 13 out in front.
Pretty smart by Lawrence, too, right there through that straightaway. He just kind of moved his way over to the left to protect that inside, giving Craig nowhere to go.
Michael Craig has been fast in the preliminaries. As we take a look at Jeremy McGrath pulling up on number 17, Craig. McGrath currently in 3rd in this qualifying heat with Kyle Lewis behind him and Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk in that order.
Well, Craig was, you know, he's had some injuries this year, and it was hard for him to come back and be strong for the whole main event. In a heat race, he's tough. He beat Jeremy in a heat race in Pontiac, Michigan.
Lawrence coming through the whoops with good speed. Craig and then McGrath. Lewis is 11. Ward is 6. Lusk is 34. Only 4 will make it to the main event out of this race.
Now you can see McGrath, who's close enough to start applying the pressure to these guys. And watch the lines he chooses. He'll stay on the inside. He's already positioned himself at the inside of Craig there. If he's a little closer, he can make that pass.
1, 2, and 3 in our picture. Lawrence, Craig, and McGrath.
These guys really starting to pull away from that battle for 4th now.
Yeah, the bubble is between Kyle Lewis, Ward, and Lusk, with Damon Bradshaw straggling behind them.
Lawrence holding his own here, too. He looks pretty fast. Craig's not making up that much time anywhere on the racetrack, but now he's really going to feel it from Jeremy. He looks over at him on the triple.
Lawrence opened the season in Orlando with a 2nd place finish. Here comes Jeremy. Battling into the 2nd position now in front of Michael Craig. And Larry Ward has moved into 4th.
That was pretty slick by Jeremy. Went off the triple, pulled the tearaway, and kind of regrouped. He knew that Craig was going to slow down and try to block him in the corner. He cut to the inside, called him perfect on it.
Be interesting to see where Jeremy picks to take Lawrence if he gets the chance. Oh, he bounced
Jeremy,
it there.
Yeah, lucky to keep it upright. He jumped right into the face of that jump, and it just shows you the incredible balance this guy has. I think Lawrence will hold him off a little bit. These guys ride together sometimes during the week, and I'll bet it probably feels like that for Lawrence right now. He's like, if he can just anchor himself there and go, okay, this is just like the time we were riding together last Wednesday, it'll help him relax and maybe take Jeremy a little longer to get around.
57.9 lap, a little slower than the Emmings lap.
Yeah, quite a bit. Emming had a clear track, and like I said, he's just really impressed me. He seemed to have stepped it up a notch here this weekend. And well, McGrath he's close to Phil, but we're not seeing that same thing we usually see from Jeremy. I think we're just looking at a lot of patience right now. Lots of time.
Stay cool. Jeremy McGrath on the triple. Picks it up within a bike length now of Phil Lawrence as they go through that timing section on the end of the track. Lawrence looking over his shoulder back at Jeremy. Jeremy tries the block pass, but didn't quite have enough room.
And you know what's amazing is when Jeremy goes in and tries something like that, Lawrence held his line perfect, did everything right, but Jeremy didn't lose any time. You know, he couldn't jump that first double jump, but he still jumped the other way that they do it because it's kind of a rhythm section. If you don't do the first one, you can do the second one. Lost no time at all.
Our leader is still Phil Lawrence with McGrath and Michael Craig, 1, 2, and 3. Will Lawrence take the checkers? Well, that answer comes up in a moment. Sarn Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed as we watch a tremendous battle here in the second qualifying heat between Jeremy McGrath and Phil Lawrence. Jeremy McGrath tried to get him on a block pass, but he snuck through. And here comes Michael Craig behind him, and Larry Ward moves into third place.
Now, a good ride for Ward. He came out of nowhere, caught these guys from quite a ways back. Now he's getting pinched out by his teammate Craig, but, you know, Lawrence is riding fantastic. I mean, I know Jeremy, he may have a little bit more under the hood, but still, he's usually able to work his way to the front. He doesn't like finishing second. I know he wants to get around, but he can't right now.
Well, you know, we take a look at the great record of Jeremy McGrath. Number 1 as he sails toward Phil Lawrence, but there's a lot of work goes behind all of this, right, Marty Reed?
I'll tell you what, guys, one of the things I'm interested in is finding out if the chassis that they put underneath him is having any effect. Earlier this week, Skip Norfolk, Jeremy McGrath's mechanic, said, I was going over the bike and all of a sudden I realized the chassis was worn out. Believe it or not, after 5 races and a few test sessions. Too many hard jumps, they said. So he rebuilt the entire chassis. That is a new bike from the ground up, basically, that they're talking about. And David, maybe you have some insight on this after being on top of one of these things so many years. If that would be the reason, because the lap times are comparable to what Jeff Emig. The fastest has been a 56.9. The other 2 laps have been in the mid-57s.
Well, I don't know. I doubt if they change the geometry of the frame. I don't think they're allowed to by the rules, but the bike is different, and sometimes it takes you a little while on a new bike to get the feel of things. Even sometimes you go out there and your handlebars are just a tiny bit too low and it messes up your rhythm, but I'm sure Jeremy will get it worked out. I've seen him do worse in the heat race before and come back and smoke everyone in the main. I'm sure that's what he's thinking of priority-wise, but right now he's getting pressure from Larry Ward. You can see the concern on Skip's face.
He really is. Larry Ward is right on his back tire. White flag, 1 more lap to go is all, and Phil Lawrence has run a marvelous race. Out in front, McGrath is getting pressure now in second place from Ward. Ward couldn't quite cut him off. Ward goes down. He goes down hard.
So Ward just tried to come out of that inside of that corner. There's a rut there. He was leaning too much to the inside, and it's washed out. He's going to have to go to the semi.
Can Jeremy McGrath catch up with number 13 in time as this final lap is running out?
Whoa, Jeremy getting his feet way up off the pegs. You see him do that a lot. But what saves him is he grips the bike with his knees. So when he comes back down, he lands right back on the foot peg.
Lawrence out in front of Jeremy McGrath, but Jeremy McGrath is in good position. Ezra Lusk was a big benefactor of the Larry Ward going down. He's in a 4th. Here comes Jeremy now, making his move on Lawrence.
Oh, I don't believe it.
The entire race, Phil was able to hold him off. The checkers to Jeremy. And it's Lawrence, Craig, and Ezra Lusk on their way to the main event. Oh, what great racing here early. And we'll hear from our winner, Jeremy McGrath, in a moment. Now history here in St. Louis.
This was the last pass. Jeremy just outsmarting Lawrence right there. Lawrence bobbled a little bit going into the corner, set that all up, bobbled again, and McGrath was by.
You think it was pressure that McGrath was behind him?
It had to be. I think if for Lawrence, if that wasn't Jeremy behind him, he probably wouldn't have felt that pressure. Jeremy just puts that on everybody and forces them to ride so good, and they make mistakes, and he's there to pass.
Our champions with Marty Reed. You can ask him about that chassis now, Marty.
I definitely want to. I got to ask you, you made this a little closer than most people probably thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was kind of like a slam fest in the beginning there, you know. I mean, I got to be the most fortunate guy winning every race, but that heat race was close. Phil was riding a great race.
We know about the new chassis build-up earlier this week. Was this chassis, or are you starting to feel a little pressure about the winning streak going for 14?
No, I just got a little nervous out there, you know. It wasn't nothing. Factory Phil was riding a really good race, and Mike Craig was on my tail, so it's not like I couldn't ride where I wanted to ride. So I think I just need a little bit better start in the main event.
Well, we'll see you when you get to the main. Good luck.
Thanks.
Hey, guys, by the way, an update on the elevator episode. He wasn't alone, Art. I found out that there was a woman operator. They've taken her to the hospital. They got to repair her ear. They got to put it back on because they say he talked it off.
That's great.
It's true, ladies and gentlemen. He did get caught in the elevator. We didn't think he was going to make it for the opening of the show. You just barely made it in time. They got him out of the elevator after an hour and 11 minutes, and his hands were shaking. What's it like in that elevator, partner?
It's no fun because you don't know if you're on the first floor or if you're on the floor.
Mark Eckman along with David Bailey, and we're ready for the main event for the 250s. Jeremy McGrath gunning for his 14th consecutive Supercross victory, but the bar banging experience in the qualifying probably has him thinking a lot.
Well, I'm sure it does, and it wasn't until a couple of corners to go that he finally got around Lawrence and into the lead to win his heat race, and he called it a slam fest those first few laps. And I know that he has the composure and the patience to kind of wait that out, let things sort themselves out. We may be looking at another Houston with guys getting in there and banging him and then maybe going down.
And Kawasaki only with one rider in the field, Jeff Emig, as injuries have befallen Huffman as well as Hughes.
Yeah, Huffman with an anterior cruciate tear in his knee, and they're still analyzing that. If he does go in, if that's not looking good, he may get that operated on. That would put him out for most of the season. And also Ryan Hughes, with that kind of odd crash in Charlotte last week, smacked his jaw, and when he cased it on a double and broke that. At first they didn't know it was broken. When he came home on Tuesday, it was still hurting him, and he went and checked it out. It was pretty bad.
And one of them, of course, is Team Suzuki's Greg Albertine, who had to go to the last chance qualifier.
You can miss those big bumps in the hoops.
Skip Norfolk is mic'd.
Tell him to look out for those big bumps for the whoop-de-doo section. There's a few big ones in there, and if you can hop over those, you can keep that bike pretty flat. Jeremy going through his usual routine. He kind of claps.
Hey, you got Honda Troy beside you. You got Team Yamaha down from them, and you know who's sitting on your right. Okay, you know where you got to be when the gate drops. Forget about the heat race. You need a whole shot, 4 laps of your race, and then you'll be out front. You can do whatever you want then. All right? Hammer on these guys. 20 laps this time.
Well, that's great.
Hey, I love listening in. It's such good advice. And even if Jeremy already knows that, it's still good to hear it again. Just get that anchored in there. Trying to keep his arms loose. He said he got a little nervous.
And you got your spot. Nobody's expecting anything to happen in that corner. You can make it happen there if it's necessary.
So you know that they've planned a spot on the track that he hasn't shown yet.
Well, we could assume that it's that corner where he passed Lawrence. That's a key corner. I think we're going to see a lot of passing there. You see the intensity on Jeremy's face. Skip's got good advice.
He was talking about Jeff Emig, of course, to his right. McGrath, Henry, Lawrence, Swink, Craig, Lusk, Ward, LaRocco, Bradshaw. They're all there getting set for the second to the last Supercross of the year. Can Jeremy McGrath win them all? This might be the big one. 30-second board is up. When it goes sideways, they have from 5 to 10 seconds before the gate will drop to get this one underway.
I've been pretty impressed with Emig. I've said that already. Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk also riding extremely fast tonight, but I agree with Skip. If Jeremy can get out to a good start, put in 4 good laps, he may end up with a big lead like we've seen all year long. At that point, he can ride more relaxed, make less mistakes.
Well, if he doesn't get out in front, of course, there's going to be the bar banging, because that's the only way you can get around these corners. And there's plenty of riders out there that are willing to do it. So we're set. They're revving up. The gate will drop any second. Now it's gone.
Jeremy gets a terrible jump out of the gate.
Emig, good jump. Lusk, a good jump. McGrath is about in 10th position right now, but then he shoots by 4 riders right before the next turn. Emig is our leader. LaRocco got a good start. There's Phil Lawrence, 13. Number 34 is Ezra Lusk. Then it's LaRocco. Then Jeremy McGrath is already in 5th position.
And look how smart Jeremy is. Up the inside to the whoops, already around LaRocco. He's in, what, 4th, maybe 5th? I can't believe what this guy can do amongst so much traffic.
Now it'll spread out a little bit. He's got Ezra Lusk right in front of him.
Look what he did right there. Instead of just clearing that double jump, he jumped completely past it, trying to maintain more momentum. Little mistake right there. He was lucky not to get tangled with Lusk, but he's got some fast guys ahead of him. LaRocco won his semi. He's already around.
Sharp elbow that time on Lusk.
Yeah, he gave it to Lusk. Lusk kept it up on 2 wheels.
It's Emig out in front with Phil Lawrence out in front. Lawrence, don't forget, led Jeremy McGrath through the entire qualifying heat except for the last lap, the last turn. Emig, Lawrence, LaRocco, and then Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk, Michael Craig, and Jimmy Button. Here is the Suzuki Field summary.
McGrath's going to have to fight for this. LaRocco is not going to be easy to pass, I don't have a feeling. We already saw how much trouble Jeremy had in the heat race, trying to find a way around Lawrence, trying to find his rhythm. Said he didn't get to take the lines he wanted to take. That could happen again, and meanwhile, Emig is still out front.
Jeremy McGrath has been in this position before at different tracks with 3 riders in front of him. But he's always been able to get the break, the right move at the right time. LaRocco just won't let him take it.
Now LaRocco stayed tight right there, and although McGrath kind of blew it all through that section, he's still right there. The guy is just endless pressure and eventually wears on you.
Now the big question is, can Emig draw a big enough lead with Lawrence in between?
Oh, I think so, but yeah, I don't know if any lead's big enough with Jeremy McGrath on the same race, but yeah.
Oh, we've got a great one on our hands. Could this be the moment that Jeremy McGrath's tremendous win string of 13 in a row is broken?
Look at Lusk down the inside of the whoop section. He was pretty quick through there. He's trying to stay out of those ruts, and it's on the inside. So if he can stay close enough to Jeremy, which he has been doing, in the next lap, he could make a pass on one of these 2 guys there.
57.5 for Emig on the lap.
It's pretty quick. It was a minute for the 125 class, so they picked it up some. That he was running 57 lap times all through the heat race. Now Albertine is out of the race, still on the track, but out of contention.
5-second lead as far as Emig and McGrath are concerned, but they've got LaRocco and Lawrence in between them.
Well, Emig's been there before. He's had the lead and a few guys between himself and Jeremy, like the situation we see right now, but he's always made a mistake, and I think this time may be different.
Jeremy McGrath can't get the block pass on LaRocco. LaRocco with good acceleration out of that corner.
And he's forcing Jeremy to push himself a little bit harder in certain places on the racetrack, taking him out of his rhythm, and he's starting to make little mistakes that let Lusk almost get by him to the whoops right there. So Jeremy's got to settle down. He's got a long ways to go.
He's still 4 seconds behind the leader.
There's so much pressure on this kid to try to win every single race, and I think now there's only 2 more, and with the absence of Hughes and Huffman, he knows it should be just a little bit easier, and you know, he may be thinking about that a little bit too much right now. I know once he settles down, he can go faster than anyone else.
Brian Swink hitting the dirt right there.
Looks
McGrath honestly thinking that the streak was going to come to an end back in the wind and rain of Charlotte. But then he came back with great poise and had very few problems. But he got the great start.
Right. Emig still, Art, is maintaining this, about the same lap time, 57.5 seconds again. And McGrath still not any closer to LaRocco, and Lusk is still within striking distance.
Emig has pulled a second on McGrath as far as the lead back to Foyt.
Now, meanwhile, we've been talking about all these guys. One guy that I'm really impressed with is Phil Lawrence, because he has closed in the battle just ahead of these guys on Emig. He's putting pressure on Emig for the lead of this race.
Lawrence, of course, the top privateer in the last National Outdoors. Getting some extra money for that. It's not easy being a privateer in this business.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, he's got a good team behind him, but I've talked to him. I flew home with him after one of the rounds. I forget now. I think Pontiac. And he talked about the fact that his bike was pretty much stock. And he goes out riding with Emig, and I mean not Emig, but McGrath and Hughes. Sometimes they go, hey, did you ever ride one of those guys' bikes out practicing? He said, I didn't want to. He didn't want to know how much better their bikes were because he'd have to go back and ride his.
Well, gentlemen, we haven't seen much of this race yet. There is a lot more to come as Jeff Emig on top, Lawrence, LaRocco, McGrath, and Lusk. And we'll be back with the finish, the conclusion of the 250 main event after this. Our leader in the 250 main event from St. Louis. It is Jeff Emig, number 2, but Phil Lawrence of Great Western, an independent team, is really putting the heat on. Then it's LaRocco and Jeremy McGrath with Ezra Lusk behind him.
I'm so impressed with Lawrence right now because I can guarantee you that the bike Emig is riding is much more superior. But Lawrence is putting the pressure on as they came off the finish line jump right when we came back from commercial. He actually kind of had the pass made, and Emig squirted off that outside, gave him a face full of dirt. But he is close enough to make Emig think about where he's going to go on the racetrack, not to give up that best line.
Jeremy McGrath is losing time on LaRocco. As we see our leader, Jeff Emig. Emig, of course, winning the last Supercross of the season last year. That was the field shortened, and Lawrence goes into the hay bale.
You could just see a glimpse of him as they went by. He went off the track and hit a hay bale. He's in kind of an odd spot. It's going to take him a little while to get going, so that makes it a little easier for Jeremy now.
So it is Emig, LaRocco, and Jeremy McGrath. As I was saying, Emig's only Supercross win came in the field shortened display the last race of the year in Las Vegas last year, where several riders did not ride in the main event.
Now watch Lawrence right here. He's in second place. He's going to come out. He's going to go more to the right. He gets crossed up in that rut. Right there, that hay bale is what caused the problems. Falls off the bike, and it took him forever to get going. Right now, he's in seventh.
Emig slowing down as far as lap time is concerned, and LaRocco and Jeremy McGrath are picking up time.
We got a good race brewing right here. These three guys are going to get close.
And LaRocco, you know, is not going to give McGrath an inch.
No, he won't. He'll do everything he can. He wants to finish off the season, at least indoors, good, and take some of that strength outdoors, where he's still got a shot at the title.
Number 8, Mike LaRocco. His bike tuned by his father, Mike Sr.
As they went into that first corner, you can see Jeff Stanton off to the side of the racetrack lean down and clap for Jeremy. He's got a lot of support out there on the racetrack.
LaRocco, despite the fact that he came from reconstructive knee surgery into the season, took a 5th in the first race in Orlando, then a 3rd and a 4th. It was looking pretty rosy until the 19th in Seattle.
Well, this is for the first time this year that I can think of. Art LaRocco has a good look at the lead in the main event pretty far into the race.
And he's had good starts both in qualifying and the main event. LaRocco now starting to move in, inch up on Jeff Emig. This is the closest thing to the home track for Jeff Emig. Many friends and family coming up from Kansas City. He wants to hold on to that lead.
So now these guys are using pretty much the same line. You can see Emig's mechanic, Jeremy, looking on. McGrath is able to start using different lines. He's got nothing to lose, really. He can just watch what these guys do and play off of them. You can't wait too long, though. There's not that many laps left.
We're almost to the halfway point. 11 laps left. Emig, LaRocco to the inside of the whoops. LaRocco moving on those whoops. Oh, and LaRocco comes down hard.
Well, he had to go for that, or else he would have lost a lot of time. It takes so much strength, I can't even tell you, to pull the front end up that high and land on the top of that jump, not lose any time.
58.3 the last lap.
Yeah, they're starting to slow down just a little bit. They've been running 57s, now they're into 58s, and I think that's just the condition of the racetrack.
Out in front, Jeff Emig, Mike LaRocco, and Jeremy McGrath, 1, 2, and 3. It's Michael Craig in 4th. Here's the halfway point.
Yeah, now look at McGrath. He's going wide, trying to stay out of that big rut that Marty was pointing out before the race started. You can see how deep these are getting now. I have a feeling that it's going to be a mistake.
Here comes LaRocco, making the move. Can't quite get Emig with a black pass. Here's the triple. Jeremy McGrath sitting back, watching him fight it out.
Well, he's being patient right here. Time is going to run out if he can't stay close. He's got to stay really close to these guys, or else they're not going to feel that presence anymore.
Oh, LaRocco can sense his first victory of the 96 season.
Now, this section coming up, LaRocco's been using the inside. I don't think he's close enough to Emig, though, to make a move. Jeremy's right there.
A 1-2-3 battle in our 250 main. With a streak, one of the greatest in sports history, on the line.
Watch Jeremy. He'll go to the outside and get a burst of speed coming off the corner.
And he cuts in front of LaRocco. Jeremy McGrath brings the crowd to their feet. Holy mackerel. We're in St. Louis, aren't we? I can say that. Harry Carey.
Look at LaRocco. He's got an excellent line coming off of that section. He gets Jeremy back briefly.
Bar to bar. McGrath takes the advantage in the triple. LaRocco, he gets the block pass. Oh, what great infighting.
That's what it's going to take. The guy that wants it the most right now is the guy that's going to win this race. They're all the same speed. They're all capable of the same things. The guy that wants it right now, I don't care how tired you are. You know that they're all feeling that they're getting winded a little bit. The track's getting tough. They're making mistakes, but you got to want it like that. Right there, it could have been over for LaRocco, but he went back in. Watch this. Cuts right back to the inside and goes right for Jeremy's front wheel. He's probably bummed he didn't take him out, to tell you the truth, Art. But Jeremy did a good job to keep it upright. I can tell you he's a little irritated with that. He's not going to let these guys boss him around much more.
Fender to fender. Here comes Jeremy again.
This is the last lap where LaRocco, watch what he does right here. He jumps all the way off.
Good move.
Over that little kicker on the end of that jump into the corner, makes up a lot of time.
8 laps remaining in this 250 main. Oh, look at the move. LaRocco and Emig going at it now. Coming through the whoops. Great move by LaRocco to the inside. And then the double jump by Emig to retake the lead.
Well, the design of this track, everyone thought was pretty simple early in the day, but it's really proved to be some of the best racing all year because of the options out there and the fact that it's getting so rutted. These guys make mistakes.
Mike Craig is pulling up some space on the 3 leaders.
Yeah, he's made up quite a bit of time.
Behind him, just to inform the Ezra Lusk fans, and then Larry Ward behind Ezra. But we're looking at the true battle of the year right now.
Jeremy still using that outside. He gets right up next to LaRocco, but he can't make anything happen. LaRocco controls the corner.
Boy, you got to pick the right rut. Woo.
Look at LaRocco. He scoots off over that. I really like how he's doing that. He wheelies over the beginning bump as they start up that little whoop-de-doo section and hops over that little lip. That's what set up the pass for him before on Jeremy to get him back. If he gets close enough, he can get Emig there.
You know, Jeremy's being patient right now after putting the wheel up there and testing LaRocco. But time's running thin.
Well, this is about the longest in a race, other than maybe Seattle, all year that Jeremy hasn't been in the lead yet.
That's where he was challenged by Damon Huffman. And Damon Huffman was giving him a great battle until Huffman stalled on a corner. Emig, LaRocco, 2 and number 8, battling it out now as they come over the finish line jump.
LaRocco right there. Emig looks over. He knows it. Jeremy using that outside still, but he's not nearly close enough like he was the past few laps to get in there and make a move. Now watch LaRocco through this section. He'll wheelie the front wheel and hop over there.
But Emig has the angle. No contact, just a good block pass. And Jeremy McGrath is pulling up close once again.
Right, well, Emig is making it difficult for LaRocco to get around. LaRocco, though, up the inside again.
Now Emig, oh, LaRocco bumps and comes off the bike. Jeremy McGrath leaps by him.
What a save by LaRocco, but now Jeremy's around him.
And that's Michael Craig in 4th place,
and
number 17.
Wait till Emig glances over his shoulder and doesn't see that number 8 anymore. That's going to make him nervous.
That is going to be the key right here. Can Emig, with Jeremy McGrath behind him, hold on to the lead? He has lost the lead 3 times this year.
I'm sure he could hear the crowd. Whenever you're in the lead and something's going on behind you and the crowd gets into it like that, now you get a little tight.
Boy, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Jeff Emig, Jeremy McGrath, Mike LaRocco, and Michael Craig.
Here's the replay. LaRocco just tries to get in there, and Emig still won't leave him any room. LaRocco kind of does a trick ride hanging off the side of the bike. Good job to save it. He's still in the hunt. He could still win this.
And we're down to a 1-minute lap time with this infighting.
Well, the pace has slowed considerably because there's so much strategy and blocking, and because of the ruts, these guys are making more mistakes. They're not getting cleanly over all the jumps consistently, but I don't think the lap times really matter right now. It's just positioning.
Breezing by the lappers, Cliff Palmer, Jeremy McGrath right on the tail of Jeff Emig.
Now look at this, McGrath all the way on the inside.
They pass up Todd to Hoop. We're going to have a great battle here as Jeremy McGrath almost took off himself. And Mike LaRocco picking up on McGrath.
It's the most mistakes I've ever seen McGrath make, but you know what? If he wins the race, who cares? You know, it's a difficult track, and you can see how deep these ruts are getting. You can't expect to not make any mistakes. Watch McGrath right here. He gets cross-rutted a little bit. Nice body English to keep that on the track. That's where Lawrence went off right there and hit that hay bale. So a little bit better balance perhaps by Jeremy.
Jeremy's been able to pick up some time here in the whoops. Let's see if he can get close to Emig once again as LaRocco's right behind him.
And now Jeremy has learned. You see him riding the inside down through that whoop section because he knows LaRocco's on his tail. He doesn't want LaRocco to get around. He also feels like if he's close enough, he can get around Emig the same as LaRocco was trying to do.
Oh, this is the battle we've been calling for all year. Emig out in front with Jeremy McGrath in second, and LaRocco cased one, but he's still up in third. There's the top 5 on our Suzuki Field summary.
Emig has just been like a machine so far. He hasn't missed any of his lines. He's had the same lines. His lap times have slowed just a little bit, but so have everyone else's.
5 laps to go. Jeremy looks like he wants to make a move.
Every time Jeremy gets really close, Emig does something good, hits a good line, gets a good burst of power, and pulls it open again.
LaRocco's now 2 seconds behind McGrath in third with Michael Craig in fourth. Here's our Honda stopwatch. Let's check the interval. 1.8.
Pretty close between the top 5 guys. 5 seconds back to Mike Craig, who's ridden a fantastic race catching these riders from further back. He has a shot at the podium if he can get around LaRocco. But McGrath, I noticed, Art, was pulling a tearaway on that triple jump the last lap. I got to wonder how many of those he's got left because he's been eating a lot of roost this whole race.
This late in the race, he's never been out of the lead.
Well, this is history right here.
As far as the year is concerned, Jeremy McGrath battling. You see the space, the interval right there as they approach another lapper, which is Doug Henry. Doug Henry clears out of the way as Emig will go wide.
Now Jeremy sort of picked up on that line that LaRocco was doing, getting over that little whoop-de-doo step-up section.
Former teammates battling it out now. McGrath going by Doug Henry.
McGrath had a good run through the whoops that time and closed it in a little bit. They still got more lapped riders to contend with. That could be the story right there. Rich Taylor looks like he's going to stay out of the way.
Wise move by Taylor to let these guys battle it out. But Henry now is in front of LaRocco.
Look how close Jeremy is, and Emig moves right over to the inside.
Could this be the evening that Emig holds on to it all?
The ruts are starting to take their toll on Jeff
White
Emig.
flag lap. 1 lap to go. Can Emig do it?
He's got a good, comfortable lead right now. Unless Jeremy can stay closer than this, Emig's got the composure to hold on to it.
Emig's 1 win in Supercross history was Las Vegas. McGrath was not in the field.
Jeremy just had lost a little bit of time, but he jumped that section that LaRocco was doing, made it back up. Watch him through the whoops up the inside.
Emig doing a good job through the whoops.
I think the key might be that final corner where Jeremy got around Lawrence for the heat race.
I'll tell you, the fans are all out of their seats with good reason. Emig leading Jeremy McGrath in the final lap. Here's the second to the last turn. Emig, flawless. McGrath is not close enough to make a move on the final turn. It is Jeff Emig.
I don't believe it, Art. I don't think Emig does either. He jumped about 10 feet past the landing of that finish line jump, hands in the air.
His first legitimate Supercross win, I think, in his heart, because Jeremy McGrath was not in the field in Las Vegas. And where do you do it? You do it on what is the closest thing to your home track with over 300 fans up from Kansas City to see this. We'll be back. Jeff Emig, number 2 in front of Jeremy McGrath. The streak is broken. 13 consecutive Supercross victories for Jeremy McGrath, a record that should stand for some time, David Bailey, as Jeff Emig across the finish line. Our round 14, here's how they finished, Emig. McGrath, Mike LaRocco, Craig, and Lawrence. Let's go down to Marty.
For the first time in 14 races this season, we're going to talk to somebody else first. Jeff Emig, congratulations. The streak is broken. What a great ride.
Well, you know, I knew that there was going to be a lot of guys going fast tonight. I didn't feel that I was, you know, exactly the fastest. You know, especially when you're out front, you kind of get a little, you know, like a little soggy, I think. But, you know, LaRocco and, you know, and Jeremy, you know, they gave me a good race. You know, and I'm sure that it was exciting for the fans here in St. Louis. That
56-second lap in the heat race was an indicator, though. I mean, you got a great start. And, yes, the time slowed down as the race progressed because of the ruts, but you were able to stay consistent.
Yeah, you know, that was the whole name of the game. You know, we talked about it, and, you know,